My entrance with the suitcase is to kind of resonate with everyone in the room. Being of ethnic minority, I came here with a suitcase and I wanted to just bring that home today. Because if I said I came with a suitcase, it's like, okay. So I brought my suitcase with me today with its tag and everything, the border stuff, the airport stuff, so you can actually see my journey and make it as real as possible. So a bit of background about myself. I've attended a few of these conferences. Some of you have seen me before. My area of specialty is around mortgages, insurances. It's all been spoken about. So I don't really want to go into that a lot because it's been overdone, I think. So I'm going to try and take a different perspective of it. So I'm looking at financial growth and relationships. So I'm passionate about this. It's not really what I do every day, but I do help people with this a lot of times, especially families, because I think the foundation of anything is financial growth. So for you to actually have a mortgage or to have anything of meaning, you need to grow financially. And this particular workshop that we're having this year is about possessing the land. So you can't possess anything if you don't have money. Fact. And if you don't have money, your relationships aren't going to be great. I think all the guys in the room can relate or attest to that. So the start, as I came in with my suitcase, I came in on a flight. Some have come on a boat. Some have come by train. Some have come in different forms of transport. And the transition to a developed country was a wake-up call, a slap in the face. Because I came from Zimbabwe, and there's no banking system, there's no financial services, there's no credit checking. It's just the bank teller yourself and the bank manager. If you want anything, you see the bank manager. You know, there's no real formal structure of finances. So coming to England, where everything is properly done, there's compliance, there's checks, there's due diligence that's done, it was like a wake-up call. So I think a lot of people have probably walked this journey. And some of us are still in that position where we don't really quite get it. So we're not really effectively exploring our financial options. So this particular session is going to try and get people to think outside the box, not just think about having a bank account, but what else can your money do for you? Transition into a developed country. Yesterday's speakers mentioned a lot of things about possessing your wealth. And one of the speakers, the closing speaker last night said, if you don't possess something, it will possess you. And that was shocking. So if you haven't transitioned into this first world and are still dealing with your Zimbabwe or Malawi or Mozambique mentality, you're never going to make it here. You need to transition, not just the physicality of your suitcase and the aeroplane, but your whole mindset has to be here. You've got to do what they do in Rome. Otherwise, you're not going to do much. You're not going to make it. You will not be able to possess the land properly or even fully. So I'm going to talk about families and finances. I say this every conference. Families don't talk about money, and it's a cultural thing. And it's not really our fault. It's how we're raised. I always say to people, I grew up in a home where I spoke about money with one of the parents. The other parent was vulgar. So it was a secret. So when the other parent was walking in, the other parent was talking about money, we changed the topic really quickly. And that's probably a lot of homes. So I was lucky to have half a conversation, but it wasn't a full conversation. And I know some families didn't even have that conversation, which makes it even weirder because you grow up in a home, you know how to wash the dishes, make your bed, brush your teeth, look after your siblings, but you don't know jack about money. And yet you're expected to go and make it in the world, pay the bills, and become a human being who's fully functional. Can you imagine that we've got a society where we're raising children that don't know what to do with money? And yet everybody's got the goal to have an income, have a career, and make money. But we've not taught them nothing. And then when these conferences come up and we're told to bring our families and let's talk about money, we're like, oh, they're at it again. But actually, it's equipping ourselves for that wealth. You cannot suddenly become a billionaire when you don't know how to work with 10 pounds. So, when is the language of finance spoken in your family? You don't have to answer me. Is it at the dinner table? Is it when the bills hit the door? Is it when one of your children steals your card to pay for something they didn't ask for? And then suddenly, let's talk about money. You stole my card. Why did you pay for this? Why did you need it? And that's the first time you're actually talking to your child about money? Or is it when you don't have money and you're looking for it? So reflect on your own relationships in your own homes. And I'm advocating for wise parents like ourselves to make this a regular thing. Like, bring it to the dinner table. It should not be vulgar. Talk about money like you talk about your homework. How was your day at school? How are you feeling as a person? The emotional well-being of our children should be financially tied. You don't have money. How does that make you feel? How much money do you want to make when you grow up? How do you want to make your money? What are you going to use it for? What's the first thing you're going to buy? What are you going to buy me as your mom or your dad? What are you going to buy yourself? So,
Mum first.
mom first, but it's it's to the child's level. It's not really hardcore. Bring a budget plan and let's talk. You know, you know your children. Your 4-year-old probably wants money for sweets. Make your bed. I'll give you money. Maybe 4 years early. A 10-year-old maybe wants to buy, I don't know, prime drink. What have you done? You know, you've got different levels, but make money a discussion point in the home. And then the most important thing is the parents. You cannot talk of money if you yourselves, the couple, don't discuss money. Because it starts from the head, like the beard of Aaron, oil flowing from the top to the bottom. So if you and your wife or you and your husband do not share finances, poverty is written all over your children. I'm sorry to say. Because you're stealing from yourselves and the inheritance of your children. So if you have the audacity to go to work and earn some money that your other half doesn't know, and you think you're being clever, you're planting a seed. You plant an apple tree, an apple seed, you get an apple. Plant an orange, you get an orange tree. No magic there. You put deceit, you hide the money. So don't go coming to pastors and praying when your child is 20 and saying, they steal my money. They take my credit card. Where have they learnt it from? Where have they learnt it from? What are you doing as a couple? So it's a reflection point. It's really key because without this, no matter how much money you're making, you're just running around in a circle. So we need to know and understand how money works. Money has a spirit of its own. If you don't use it properly, it will possess you. And if you're greedy, there's fraudsters, like they were saying. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. So always put your money in the right place. Make sure it's working for you the right way. So I've done a little thing for everybody, a budget planner, as a starting point. You probably all have seen these or have them with your bank accounts. In my day-to-day job as a mortgage broker, I go through a budget planner. It's the income and expenditure basis of everything. Before I even say you can borrow X amount, this is where it all starts from. So you come to someone like myself or Tendai to discuss your finances and not your family. We start to see your lifestyle here. And then you start to see your lifestyle here because you've never seen it. And you can come to me and say, oh, Hazvi, I earn 200,000 a year. I've got a business. I'm doing, supported living. I'm turning around, what, £500,000. It's all just until I do this. Because you could be earning your 200,000 a year, but spending 350. So it means jack. So I thought, that's really good. You've done well for yourself. Ashley, you're doing really well. You're very successful. Well done. So, okay, let's go back to how you actually spend the money. Where is the money? Your payslip says one thing. Your bank account and this tell me a different story. So this is where it's important to speak to your families. Because if you're doing this at home, you already know what you've got. So I actually like when couples come to me that earn very little money because I know they're the most genuine customers I get. They share everything. I don't know what it is. I think it's the drive to succeed as a team. So whatever monies they have, they pretty much know. You can have a discussion with one partner and they can tell you everything about the other partner. Everything, literally. And you're like, fine. And when you go through the budget planner, someone earning £20,000 a year has got to take home of maybe 1.5, 1.6 net. And after their bills are paid, they're still having the disposable income that's left, enough to do what they want to do. Then enter Ashley with her 250K a year. And then I go through this and I ask Ashley's other half. He has no clue. And then at the end of doing this, there's pretty much no money. So I've printed this for everybody to have a copy. I got this from the Barclays website. I can use it because I work with Barclays, so it's not forged. And I wanted to show you this because it's quite simple. Some of the others out there are quite complex. There's many pages to it. So this is a simple budget planner. Go onto the Barclays website. You can download copies for every month with your other half in conversation. My friend, my other half, my life partner, my whatever you are, cohabitant, baby daddy, mama daddy, whatever you call each other these days. Let's go through this, before payday. Let's go through this. What are we spending our money on? And then start to feel this. I make it a common practice. This is just to help you guide so you know how it flows, like what's coming in, what's going out. With time, after doing it a few times, it just becomes part of your conversations. And then it feeds into that. What are your family aspirations and goals? Because now you know what you're earning. So you know what you're cutting your cloth from. And you can start to plan and possess the land. And then comes financial growth. Those seeds you're planting, the right seeds, you will start to see growth. So once you started having those conversations that are open and honest with each other, you have a basis to start planting a future. You can say, okay, from our X amount left a month, we want to do XYZ projects. And it's having that cohesion that will give you that growth. A lot of times I've seen couples coming in and they've got different plans. The reason being, they're not from the same hymn-sheet. One wants to do a truck business in Zimbabwe. One wants to open a spa in Harare because the sister is, a slay queen. So they've got potential to have customers from other slay queens. And it's always like that. And there's nothing wrong with investing back home. But always think of the growth that you're going to get. Whatever you're planting a seed, you'll get that plant out. You're not going to get an orange seed giving you a banana. So make sure you're planting the right seeds and you're nurturing them throughout. And once you planted a seed, anyone here has ever done farming? Yeah? You don't just put a seed in the ground and walk away. Yeah? There's processes to get from that seed to the fruit. I've not really farmed myself, but I've seen farming and I like eating fruit and crops, so I can kind of guess. You put a seed in the ground. Before you even put the seed, you need to kind of till the soil, get it ready for the seed. You prep it up, put fertilizers, whatever you do. After your seed is in, you water it. Doesn't always look this perfect. There's weeds. You weed it. Yeah? And you keep pruning it so it keeps growing. Make sure it's got enough light, enough water, enough nutrients. It's actually growing to fruition. Same thing with money. It's no point just doing this and expecting, we've done our budget planning like Hazvi said, so we're going to make it. You've got to plant the right seeds and nurture your money. There's other people that are going to speak of money trees, so it ties into that. But there's work that needs to be done. To possess the land and to have that house and to buy that car and to start that business, you actually work for it. And that then comes with your financial growth. So navigating your hopes, dreams, and ambitions. I've put a staircase there, going up, because I think once you have that seed planted, you can start to think of what access and what tools you've got. This whole conference is about networking and talking to experts about different things. These are the tools and processes for that financial growth. So the processes we're doing this conference is to equip everybody so you can actually navigate your hopes, dreams, and ambitions. And it's always good to speak to the experts. I think every speaker that's come here has said, you've got connections, speak to an expert. I don't want to start with next year because it's too far. What are you doing tomorrow about this? Walking away from this conference, what's tomorrow looking like for you? This time next week? This is going to be, I went to a conference last week, it was all right. Are you going to start talking to your children, your other half, and changing things in your home? And this time next year, that Bentley may be in the car park? You can only dream. But it's just to kind of show you that you start somewhere, in small steps. You start to make small changes. It doesn't have to be massive. If you're looking and aspiring to do something, start with, I'm changing this thing. The one thing can be this time tomorrow, this time next week, this time next year. And then a focused purpose. It's about making sure whatever you're looking to do, you're actually focused on it. A lot of times we start projects and do things that we don't actually see to fruition because you think, this one's done that, so let me run to this, flickering like a candle. Go to this one or try this thing. So once you know what you're doing this time tomorrow, this time next week, this time next year, stick to that plan. There's a scripture that says, write down the vision and run with it. So write down your visions, meditate upon them, sense check. And I like to always say to families, we don't do a lot of finance talks and budget within the family in time. Who knows when the financial year starts in the UK? Everyone knows an answer. When does the financial year start in your home? Next year. Yeah? We're all waiting for the exchequer to come with a little bag and tell us what's changing, what our budget is. How about your own budget? How about you and your wife, you and your husband, you and your spouse, you and whatever you call each other? You and the children. What are the children wanting to achieve? What's their budget? When's your annual budget? Do you review it every quarter, every 6 months, or every time you have a bonus? Or is it one of those, I figure my budget when I get there? And it's supposed to work? If an economy as big as this needs to have a budget, it's a sign that for things to work, you need to have a budget. Start with your own. Sit down. Tell yourselves, we're going to achieve A, B, C, D. And to do so, here are the policies. Less Netflix, less McDonald's, whatever it is you're doing in your home, at a micro scale that suits your lifestyle. And then you start to generate wealth. And riches and wealth are two different things. And I like to talk of wealth because there's been a lot of discussion this weekend of possessing the land. Possessing land is wealth. People say, oh, Hazvi does mortgages, Tendai does mortgages. That's what you hide, overview. Yeah, it is a house. But actually what you're buying is the land. The piece of land is what you're mortgaging. The house is just what you live in because that's what's there. But when you go into all the checks, all the paperwork, what the solicitors check, the land registry, the boundaries, the conveyancing, it's not even about the house. It's about the land. Why is that so important? It's wealth. You cannot be rich if you don't possess land. So I love when people say to me, oh, mortgages are expensive. Having a mortgage is a waste of time. I like renting. Oh, okay. So you like to not have control of where you live? Because if you're renting, anyone can come and say, I'm coming to inspect my house. I've increased my rent by £200. I need you to leave in 6 months. So you're constantly in the mercy of somebody else. So owning a piece of land is wealth, not just financial wealth, but personal wealth. You have peace of mind. I'm living in my house. All I have to do is pay my mortgage. Whatever finds me, it's in my house. The English say, a man's home is his castle, is it? Yeah. I'm not English. I said I came with a suitcase. But you know what I'm trying to say? It's important that you own your piece of land, i.e. your home. And the more of it you can get, the more wealth you're generating. Don't be lied to people saying buying land is a waste of time, even in Africa. Land is valuable. It does appreciate. So wherever you are, if you're going to start creating wealth, for me, because I'm in that space, I think land is where the money is. You can buy all the other things, I think they're just fancies, but land has done great for many people. And people that have got money do like that space. They like to go into land. You can have businesses and businesses, but property, i.e. land, is stable, it's sound. Now, maintaining your wealth. It says you should maintain a firm grip on the ladder as you climb it. And I thought that is so true in the world of finance and in our life of creating wealth. As you're climbing your wealth ladder, have a firm grip. I'm also going to quote my late brother-in-law. The first time I met him, he said to me, Hazvi, as you're rising in life and climbing a ladder, raise the ground with you. I was only 21. I was like, I don't know what this man is talking about. But now I understand what he was trying to teach me. Can you imagine being at the top of that ladder and the ground is at the bottom and then you fall? The physical damage to your body. yeah? But if that ground was higher up, the damage would not be so bad. So in other words, when you're climbing your wealth ladder, raise your wealth ground. Understand what is around you. Protect your wealth. Make sure when you do fall, because falls come, they do come. It's not going to be a hard fall. It'll be just a little bump that you can get up from. How many people grew up in a community knowing businessmen who were well known to be very, very wealthy? And then suddenly they were impoverished. There was nothing to talk about. You hear, oh, those children, they grew up, my gosh, they were like white people, you know? They had everything. They went to group A schools, they went private schools. We all know these examples in our community because they didn't keep a firm grip on the ladders they were climbing in. So now that we're here and we're wiser and we've got all the tools, as we're climbing our wealth ladder and generating our wealth, make sure we use the right tools to stay on that ladder and raise the ground with us. Networking and connections. These will help us keep a tight grip on the ladder. Everybody here knows somebody. And everybody here can be networked and connected. Now, networking is different to connection, right? Just hi, mingle, mingle. And connections are those routes that is a channel. Yeah, there's a conduit. Let's get connections with the right people done. And once you're actually climbing and you're at the top, raise the next person up. There's no point being that high up on your own and looking down on everybody else. So next year when I come, all of you in your Bentley and I'm in a Mazda, it shouldn't sit well with you. It should disturb you to say, what's gone wrong with this one? Than to say, actually, come and see my Bentley. Do you want to try it? We're known for that. So networking and connections. Let's change our mindset. Let's connect the society and let's all rise. Yeah? And then getting on the property ladder, 2023 has been a nightmare, like mortgage-wise. Everything that can go wrong, thanks to that lady who left with her lettuce meme thing. I won't say her name. But she made a decision with that other Ghanaian guy, and they did what they did, and my job became a nightmare in like a space of hours. Like I went through the double dip credit recession in 2008, 2007, and Tina and I were working with Alan Titherley in the same office, at the same desks. And we would watch interest rates change when we got in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening. And it was a nightmare. But this stint we've had in 2023, what a bummer. I've not seen anything like that before. Because this is an unknown. You come in, Barclays is doing something, HSBC is doing something, NatWest are doing their own thing, and everybody's doing what they want. So a lot of people have come and said, actually, I'm going to wait until rates reduce or the market is better. And before that, I used to have people saying, I will wait until we're out of what was it, this EU thing we're doing? Brexit. Because property prices are going to become better after Brexit. And then what happened? COVID hit. Now we've got these interest rates going mad. It's never a good time unless it's good for you. So like Alan said yesterday, it's good to invest when you're ready. Events happen all the time. Thinking of getting a mortgage? Just go do it. Stop using excuses. Rates are high. And then go and do what you need to do. Possess that land. At the moment, they're saying, I got this from the Bank of England website, interest rates used to be very good when they're the 2-year rates, 5-year rates, but currently, you can actually see that the 2-year fixed rates are very popular because everybody's banking on rates doing something in the next 2 years, i.e. coming down. So if you need to speak to an advisor or a specialist, speak to somebody. Don't make decisions on your own. And what I love about England is you can't do a mortgage on your own online and predict this stuff unless you're just renewing an existing mortgage. You can't do a full application from start to finish on your own. Can you? You need someone to walk into that, an expert, a qualified person, so we can have these discussions and explain to you and have that nice sense checking of what your plans are. If you don't want to get a mortgage, it's not the end of the world. There are other ways to get into property. At the moment, I've heard of rent to rent. I don't advocate for that sort of business, but if you want to do that, let's talk about it. There's service accommodation, there's all sorts of things. I'm not an expert in those areas, but we all have contacts with people that do stuff like that. So speak to somebody. It's better for you to be generating wealth somehow than to be just paying rent and not getting any benefit from the property market. So there are other opportunities that are out there. And people that will say, why do you have to speak to a broker when I can just go to my bank? Fair point. You can go to your bank. You walk into NatWest, Nationwide, whoever it is you walk to, they'll just tell you about their product. They won't look at the whole market. People like myself and Tendai work for all the banks. Did you guys know? All the banks in the UK. We work for them. So I can be in Barclays, Nationwide, NatWest, Halifax in one go. So you're going to get a better deal because I'm not just looking at one bank. I'm looking at everybody who's regulated. And some banks that you've never heard of as well. Some that are just specific and accessible by brokers like myself. And someone mentioned yesterday they did a mortgage bunched up for like 5 properties. I don't know if that lady's here. Is it yourself? Yeah? You couldn't have done that on your own. You need a specialist. So we can do things that aren't on the high street. Things that you've probably never heard of. If you're thinking it, speak to somebody. It's probably been done. You just don't know how to do it. What I love right now, people are actually buying car parks. Did you know? I thought I'd drop it in there. People are buying car parks because it's less expense to invest. It's just a piece of land. There's no infrastructure. There's nothing to build. Just get NCP to come do their thing. Get it licensed with the local authority. Hey, presto, you're making money. Yeah. Would you not have known that if you didn't talk to me today? So you need to speak to a broker. And then possessing the land. Where are we now? From that flight, back in year whatever, I won't mention, but from this suitcase, how many still have the original suitcases they came with? And how many still just own a suitcase? And do you remember when you packed that suitcase coming, you put everything that was special and important to you in that bag? Your parents, your relatives, your loved ones, they stuffed all the love they could into the suitcase for you. All the prayers, the wishes, the hopes. Your plans were in your head, not in the suitcase. You wouldn't dare even think about buying a house on that day you were packing this. You just wanted to arrive and clear immigration. Yeah? That was the focus. As long as I get in, what happens next? You wouldn't even dare dream of it. But where are we now? We're here. We don't have the suitcases anymore. But we have the parents' loves, the loved ones' emotions, your hopes and dreams. Unlock them now. Possess the land. Some have got credit cards. That's your thing, fine. But hey, you were here yesterday. If you weren't, not a great way to show wealth. Some people like to go to Zimbabwe on a holiday with a pack of credit cards and go when they're paying for food with their loved ones. No, I'll pay for everything. I've got many credit cards. If that's your sign of wealth, okay. This word has been thrown around a lot. Cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, blah, blah, blah. I'm not an expert, but if that's your thing, that's how you're possessing your wealth. Some have big cars, luxury cars. That's someone else's way of showing where they've come from, not the suitcase. They've moved away from the suitcase. They're driving a Range Rover now. And what I'm all about, the land, the house. Some have now got properties. So we've come a long way from our journey. So as much as this is a conference about possessing wealth, also reflect from where we've come from. That suitcase of hopes, dreams, and visions that were in there. That person that came in with the passport, green, maybe blue, whatever country you're from, without any dreams of, I can even buy a house. We're here today in such a conference. So I wanted to say to everybody that's listened to me this morning, take something away from today. Hazvi talks, she loves talking. But take something from my talking. And when I see you next, or when we meet again, bring somebody to such a conference, because this is priceless. And understanding money is only going to get bigger. Thank you.